an actual race car, and then the view of the track. So these guys have been doing what they call these iRaces, which are virtual races. They've been broadcasting it on TV. But this Kyle Larson used the N word being nigger. Said it to his spotter, who is a white guy, I do believe. So he wasn't saying it to a black person. He was saying it to his spotter. I don't know what context. I heard it, but I didn't understand why he said it to his spotter. I don't know. I don't think he was mad at the guy. Maybe he was. Maybe he was just trying to say something harsh to him or something. But he didn't really mean it in a racial sense, but he did mean it in an offensive sense. Like, I'm trying to get my spotter's attention, and so he's saying something harsh to him, which I don't believe that the N-word should be referred to as the N-word. I don't think it should be used very often, if all, but I don't think it should be banned. And I don't think that celebrities should be getting fired over stuff like this. Sure, you want to reprimand the guy, and I don't know what sensitivity training does. I don't know if that really makes a difference to people. Of course, you got to have some type of recourse when somebody says something offensive. But there's a lot of stuff that's offensive in our society these days. Hence the name of this podcast, probably offensive, because there's probably something that I've said so far since I've been doing this episode that's going to be offensive to some people. But unfortunately, Kyle Larson lost his job. He'll probably get another one. And this is the weird thing about this word and how these young white kids, I won't call him a kid, he's a grown man. I don't know how old he is, but he's a young guy. He's 20 something years old. He's only been in the top series of NASCAR for, I think, like 2-3 seasons now, but he's a very good driver. He's a damn good driver. He was a young prodigy. He was had a lot of potential. Kyle Larson. I've seen him race, and he's a good driver. He done very well for a young guy with very little experience at that level. The Cup Series is the highest level of NASCAR, so they've got, you could race trucks or the lower level series. But the Cup Series is where all the best drivers in the world go. It's probably the most lucrative. You can make the money. You get the most attention. A lot of hillbillies love NASCAR. Follow it all year round. NASCAR is probably practically almost all year round too, though. I mean, it starts in February. They start the season in February with the Daytona 500. That's the biggest race commercially. They say it's the Super Bowl of the NASCAR, but I don't tend to agree with that. I don't think you can have a Super Bowl be the first event of the season. It don't make any sense. I know it's the biggest race, saying everybody wants to win the Daytona 500, but I think they just want to win the Daytona 500 because of everything that comes with it. But the race itself is not that great, in my opinion. I hate to say that because I know a lot of people are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? What I'm saying is, the Daytona 500 is a restrictor plate race, meaning the track is built for you to just go as fast as you can. But that is so dangerous that they put a restrictor plate on the carburetors of these race cars so that they cannot just do 240 miles an hour around in a circle, because somebody's just going to end up dying. Every now and then someone dies anyway in NASCAR, and it usually is on a super speedway like Talladega or in Daytona. And if you're a racing fan at all, that's why I don't really particularly enjoy watching these races. I do watch them, I used to. I don't watch NASCAR that often anymore. You know, to me, it's all about the drivers. It's like all sports is about the players for me. I'm not rooting for the paint scheme on the car. I was rooting for drivers, So when my drivers that I liked retired, then I just wasn't watching it very much anymore. But in any case, these restrictor plate races is a safety issue. They put a restrictor plate on the car, on the carburetor, so that the car doesn't go as fast, and then it just causes the cars to be in a gaggle the whole race. They're just all in a bunch, just going around the track at 210 miles an hour, and really you don't know who's going to win or even got a good chance of winning until the end. There's only 2 laps to go. Then you can see the cars that have the best chance. They're up in the front when there's 2 laps to go. So Daytona might be the most popular, but it's not my favorite. If you're a racing fan, restrictor plate racing, not that exciting. And then they're just waiting for a huge wreck to happen, which again, that's not why I watch racing, or used to watch racing. I don't watch it that often. Like I said, I'm not watching anything sports wise these days except for games and races. Even I can't watch a whole race, but I watched some old races. I watched an hour of it. But Kyle Larson was let go by Chip Ganassi Racing and for saying the N-word to his spotter, and he should have known better. Kyle is a celebrity. He's a star attraction in NASCAR, very popular, well-known driver. And it's not like he just came into the sport within the last month or two. He's been in it for a few years. 2 or 3, 4 maybe seasons. I mean, he's new. He's young. But he knows better. As easily offended, and with the politically correct society that we live in today, he should know better. Every celebrity or entertainer should know better than say offensive things publicly. It's just stupid. You got to be stupid to do that. Kyle, you should know better. I feel sorry for you. I don't think you should have been fired, but you should have known better. My boy. What the hell is wrong with you? Do something dumb like that. All right, we're going to go take a break, and we'll be right back right after this.
You're listening to a man who's so sexy it's completely ridiculous. Mr. Anthony Scott Dover. Yummy.
Oh, well, thank you. Ooh, yes. She sure is smart and has good taste. Welcome back to the show. Was just talking about Kyle Larson getting fired from his NASCAR gig before we went to that break. And like I said, I don't really agree with people losing their jobs over saying the N-word. But I think these celebrities, entertainers, athletes, you should know better, you idiot. What the hell's wrong with you? Why would you say something like that? What are you, a moron or something, Kyle? You should know better than that, man. Seriously. This world is politically correct, and entertainers, especially someone who depends on sponsors, when the sponsors get nervous, you're out of a job. If the sponsors say, oh, no. I'm sure the sponsors to that racing team called Mr. Ganassi and said, if Mr. Ganassi is still alive, I don't know. I don't know how old the guy is. I know that team's been around for a long time. But I'm sure they called Ganassi Racing, whoever's in charge, and said, listen, your driver, I know he's a good driver, fantastic driver, but what he did was a no, and we can't support that. You know, things is already tough with the coronavirus. You know, some businesses are booming, like Amazon has picked up business because people are sitting at home ordering stuff. But some businesses are struggling. A lot of them are struggling. And the last thing in the world they want is someone to boycott them because they're sponsoring a driver who's freely just throwing around a word that is probably one of the more offensive words in our society. Dummy. What's wrong with you? And this is a message to all the other celebrities out there, entertainers. Hasn't that happened to enough entertainers for you to know better? Come on. There's been several entertainers who lost their jobs because they said not just the N-word, but, called somebody some type of racially insensitive term or phrase, or maybe someone who's mentally challenged, or something like that. You should know better. And to me, it doesn't even matter if you're a racist or not. If you're an entertainer and a successful one, popular enough for people to know who you are, you should know better than to be saying things that are completely stupid. I mean, come on. Help yourself, man. Do yourself a favor. And keep your dumb mouth shut. Stick to the script, of saying stuff that no one would care about in the media. But Kyle Larson didn't know that he was live, but he still was stupid. He didn't know it was live. He thought he was just talking to a spotter, but you're talking to him on the radio. So why would you take a chance that might be live? Why would you take a chance, jackass, dummy? So I feel sorry for Kyle Larson, even though I just called him a jackass and a dummy. I feel sorry for the guy because he lost his job. He'll get another job. But, he's got to go through this whole rigmarole of saying, I'm sorry, I'm not a racist, blah, 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 blah. Shut up, stupid. You shouldn't have said it. You know what's going on these days. Pay attention to the world you live in. they gotta send him to sensitivity training.